Hey guys, my name is Gabe, and for the next month, I'm going to be watching one film every single day. Today I watched the film Uncut Gems, which came out in 2019. It was directed by the Safdie brothers, who I don't really know any of the other films, I only really know them for this, but it stars Adam Sandler in one of his more, I don't want to call it serious because it's kind of a goofy role, but it is one of his more serious roles when you compare it to a lot of his older films. I watched this film because it's been on my list because I've heard a lot of really mixed things about it. Some people have said it's like one of the best films in modern time, and other people say that it's really overrated and talked about too much and that it's really not that great. So I've heard both sides. Overwhelmingly, I've heard people just give it a mass amount of praise. Like, a lot of people that I've talked to that have seen it have said, like, dude, you gotta watch this movie, it's so good, like trust me, it's like way better than you think. So it's been on my list, and I was kind of like, all right, I guess I'll check it out. It was on HBO Max, so I decided to just watch it, and I have to say, to be honest, I was not the biggest fan of this film. I don't know if it's just a personal taste thing, but it was really hard to get past Adam Sandler as the lead. It was hard to just like take him seriously, just knowing him from movies like Happy Gilmore and Billy Madison and Grown Ups, just all those like classic comedy films that Adam Sandler is in. That's kind of how I think of him, because that is his whole persona as an actor. Like, he is totally star-casted. He's just like, every single film seems to play a very similar role of just like a total goofball idiot. And like, I love all those films, don't get me wrong, like those are all classic films from my childhood, but in a more serious role like this, I just really struggled to take him seriously, which you might call me nearsighted for that, but I really did struggle to get past the fact that it was Adam Sandler. If you don't know the story of this movie, it's about a jeweler who works in like a jewelry store, and he is kind of just this really addictive personality and very self-destructive in a lot of ways. He seems to really struggle with a gambling addiction, and just an addiction to kind of just keep destroying his life and burn bridges. And the movie revolves around the storyline of this character, Howie. He gets this raw opal from Ethiopia that I think he illegally imports. He has it for not even like a few minutes before he pawns it off to Kevin Garnett, who played for the Boston Celtics. Kevin Garnett's character, who is himself, seems to be just all entranced with this opal and seems to think that he derives some sort of power and skill from the opal. He's just like totally like hypnotized by it, just looking. You see him just like be entranced by just having the opal in his presence. And so the film sort of follows this like wild goose chase of Kevin Garnett takes the opal he's supposed to just take it for a day and then give it back, and then how he loses the gem, and then it just follows his path of destruction, honestly, of just like, you see his family and his marriage falling apart, his kids are losing trust and faith in him, his wife is completely disgusted by him. Like, there's a scene where she says, I despise even looking at you and being around you, like it makes me laugh, you're just like the worst person ever. And he has like a girlfriend outside of his marriage, and she is just very like enabling of his bad behaviors, just feeding into them and kind of like egging him on, like encouraging him to keep gambling and throwing away his money, and like basically he'll take out major loans and borrow money from people and then go and gamble it off on, you know, like parlays for a sports game. So just really like a destructive person. I think there's some real qualities to his character. I definitely know people that struggle with having addictive personalities and just like going down paths of destruction, and it seems very confusing from an outside perspective of how could they act like that? How can they make these decisions? It makes zero sense logically. But then you try to put yourself in the mind of someone who is struggling with addiction, and you start to realize, like, of course they're going to make these decisions. Of course they're going to pick to do the wrong thing time and time again, because in a way they almost can't help it. Like, he is a victim to his addiction of ending up in danger and of gambling and kind of always living on the wire. So yeah, he's being hunted down in the movie by, it seems to be like debt collectors, and he's just always constantly on the run, like literally the whole movie just living on the edge. So it's an intense movie. It's not an easy watch. It's a long movie. I think it's well over 2 hours. It took me 2 sittings just to watch it, but as well directed as it is, because you can't deny it's just really well directed, I just didn't resonate with the story, and the characters really didn't resonate with me at all. And I understood the message that the movie is trying to send. Like, I understand the characters somewhat, but it doesn't mean that they necessarily resonated with me or that I necessarily enjoyed the movie. I'm not gonna sit here and say, oh, it's overhyped, like it's completely overrated, people are giving it too much praise, because I don't think that's the case. I think that it deserves a lot of the praise that it gets. I think that, again, it's really well directed, but me personally, I just did not like the story too much. I didn't like the characters at all, to be honest. I just really did not like Adam Sandler's character, because he just frustrated me, and I understand that is the point. You know, there'd be times where he's kind of funny and goofy and charming, and then right away you're like, dude, this guy, like, I can't with this guy. It just was frustrating to the point of almost wanting to turn it off, because it was like he'd finally start to get ahead and then get knocked right back down. Yeah, it was just honestly hard for me to sit through. So, you know, I'm not gonna sit here and say it's an objectively bad movie, but in my subjective opinion, I just didn't like it too much. I had higher hopes for it, and I sort of didn't anticipate it to be as bad as I thought it was. I won't say it's bad, but I didn't anticipate to not like it as much as I didn't like it. Yeah, I don't know. This is a tough one for me. So overall, I think I have to rate it like a 5 out of 10, and that's just a personal decision. Objectively, like as a work of art, like in terms of the directing and the color grading and just like the uniqueness of the story, it's probably up there with 7, 8 out of 10. But for me, 5 out of 10. I know that's my subjective opinion. You can get your torches and pickaxe in the comments if you want, but that is just my opinion. And yeah, that's Uncut Gems. I'll check back in tomorrow for what film I decide to watch. Thank you.